Hello, everybody. As promised, it's Scott Bogen, me, and John Brieger, developer at Thunderworks Games, coming live to you to talk about the new and exciting map packs 4 through 6, and as well as a Champions or Heroes mini expansion. So John's kind of the guy, like you might even call him the designer of these particular packs.
Co-designer.
Co-designer, and definitely the developer of all of these. And so it's going to be fun picking your brain and just kind of learning about everything. But anyone watching should know that the map pack bundle that we're calling it a bundle, all 4 through 6 and the Champions mini expansion are going to go on pre-sale, pre-order tomorrow, sometime tomorrow morning Central Time. Probably we'll say before 8 a.m. Central Time. And we are going to be, the cool thing is, we're going to be shipping these as early as June 13th. So that's kind of our goal. We want to start putting them into packages and getting them out to you that soon. So in any event, we just kind of want to run through each of them. The very first one that we're going to talk about is map pack 4, the Frozen Expanse. And John, if you just want to just kind of start talking about your inspiration for this map pack 4.
Yeah. So hi, everyone. If you haven't met me before, I'm John Brieger. I am the co-designer of the map pack expansions and Cartographers Heroes. I was a developer on the original Cartographers, and I work alongside Jordi Adon, the designer of Cartographers, to bring you lots of new stuff with Thunderworks Games. So one of the things that was really interesting about working on the first set of map packs that we did, these 3, was that at the time, Jordi was a full-time developer with CMON and wasn't able to be as directly involved in the design process. And when we went to go make 4, 5, and 6, sort of his situation at CMON had changed, and we were able to collaborate together a lot more closely. And that's one of the things that makes me really excited about this set of map packs is we got to sort of really both closely collaborate, and then have Keith Matejka, the head of Thunderworks Games, and Luis Francisco, who is the graphic designer, sort of serve in the development role for us. So the first map pack, Frozen Expanse, is set in sort of this icy glacial plain, and the idea is it's an incredibly dangerous, freezing environment. And the Queen sent an expedition to map it before you, and they got lost or died. And all you have is sort of a tattered remnant of the map that they left behind. So when you start your game of Frozen Expanse, and maybe you have this image too, you have sort of these faded pre-marked spots, and these are called scouted spaces. And so this is sort of the core mechanic of this map. Is the idea is this is the notes that the last expedition has left you. So you're going to fill these spaces in with the indicated types of terrain. You get to score them twice, once at the end of summer and then once at the end of winter for some additional points. And then we have an additional set of 2 new monsters and 1 new hero. So the monsters can be mixed in. They don't have to be played with this map pack. They can go with any map pack. You can just put them in with the rest of your ambushes and mix them up. They have special abilities on them that do something extra when they're on this map pack related to these scouted spaces.
That's cool. I know one of the things in the kind of the suggested rules is sort of like, if you really want to go all out with the Frozen Expanses, you'll take those 2 monsters, then you'll grab 2 random monsters from what's now becoming a very large stack of monsters, and then mix those up so you're kind of guaranteed to get the more Frozen Expanse themed creatures.
Yes, yeah, because if you have Cartographers and Cartographers Heroes and the Ambush Pack, that's 12.
Yes.
So generally, when you play this map pack, you're going to use these 2 specific ones, and then 2 random ones from whatever the other ones you own.
Right.
The other cool thing about this, and this is featured on the cover too, is that frozen submarine in the lake. More will come about that in another Thunderworks product that we can't talk about yet, but there will be more Frozen Expanse soon.
Right. I was gonna actually ask you, what's that submarine all about? Because I know there's always like other things going on, and I wasn't sure if you're gonna, spill the tea on that one yet.
So the submarine is frozen in the ice. You can see it in the cover, and if you surround the lake that the submarine is frozen in, you get coins, just like surrounding a mountain in the base game, but much harder and with a much bigger reward.
Yeah, that's a big one. That's a really big reward, especially if you're playing with like the skill cards, where then you can use your coins to do all this other cool stuff. It's nice to have that infusion of extra coins, isn't it?
Yeah, and like for me, one of the things that I really like about mountain mining in the base game, and what I like about the lake in Frozen Expanse, is it gives you a new puzzle to use sort of generic shapes on. So as you are working away on your goals, if you have a shape that either fits a goal that is no longer scoring or doesn't fit into one of your goal types, using it to work on a mountain or using it to work on the lake is another use for a shape that you can sort of weigh against the rest of your strategy.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. The monsters you've included in this one too are pretty interesting. I'm looking right now at the dire wolf, and right away with that one, if you're playing with other people, your opponent is going to have the privilege of crossing off or destroying one of the empty scouted spaces on your sheet or your ruin space. So they're kind of doing some really cool stuff that's different from any other monsters you've encountered.
Right. And one of the things that we know people liked the monsters with special abilities that were in Heroes, and this is the only one of the 3 map packs that includes additional monsters. But because the additional promo for this is new Heroes, we wanted to also give people some new monsters with cool abilities, because it can, for me, it like really helps push the theme of those monster ambushes a lot.
Yeah, it totally does. Okay, so if that's Frozen Expanse, map pack 4. Super cool. We are now going to move on to the next one, which is map pack 5, and it's called Kethra's Steppe, Red Tooth and Gold Belly. What are Red Tooth and Gold Belly, John?
Red Tooth and Gold Belly are the 2 big mountains on the plain of Kethra's Steppe. This will be another location visited in an upcoming Thunderworks product that we can't share too much about yet. But no, there will also be some more on Kethra's Steppe. The only other place you may have seen the name Kethra before is if you played Role Player Adventures and you die. There's an old woman at the gates who sort of greets you when you go on your little death adventure, and that is Kethra. And she has sort of a magical lantern. She's a goddess. And the legend goes within the role player universe that at the tops of these 2 mountains are 2 beacons, and when both beacons are lit, sort of the stairway to Kethra's world will open. And
yes, it's like her eyes, right? The 2 glowing eyes of Kethra or something like that. When they're both lit.
It's sort of like I sort of sometimes think of it like the beacons of Gondor, right?
Sure.
They're calling for aid.
Right. That's what I thought of right away when I first saw the expansion. I thought of that Lord of the Rings moment when they all lit up in a line. That was so cool.
Yeah. And so this was inspired by an idea Jordy had when we were first working on Cartographers, the very base game. We were looking at different scoring conditions, and one of the ideas he had was the concept of a watchtower. And a watchtower was a new type of terrain that you could place onto your map, and then it would score based on what it saw in a vertical row or column with its own scoring condition. We ended up cutting it for some complexity reasons. We felt like there was already enough in Cartographers, but I wanted to revisit that concept in this map pack. So the idea is you have these 2 beacons and then a 5th scoring condition. So you have farm, the farm river, you have village, and you have forest. You have your pattern, and then you have a new beacon scoring condition. So that's one of these 3 that's included in this map pack.
Okay, so it becomes a 5th now. So you have the 4 for each of this, 1 for each season, and then plus this extra one off to the side, right?
So if you played a map pack like Afrol, this one replaces one of the scoring conditions. It's still 4. This is a 5th one off to the side.
Nice.
And what I really like about these is you don't always score them. you only score them if you light the beacon. And you light the beacon by surrounding it, just like a mountain.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have a beacon lit, then you score it at the end of each season, as long as it's lit. However, all of them have the opportunity to give you negative points on their scoring condition. So if you light them too early, you'll get penalized.
Right.
And there's also some really fun strategy in multiplayer about using monsters to light your opponent's beacons too early and give them negative points.
Oh, that's good. That little nuance was lost on me.
Normally placing monsters next to your opponent's mountains is bad. You don't want to do that. But
that's very interesting. Yeah, I'm looking at this, just to kind of show people like how one of them might work. Actually, we'll show the one that's sort of on top, Summit Splendor. I'll bring it up a little closer. That one, you'll see I thought this was the most interesting of the three. Well, not the most interesting in that it's a little different from the other two, because lighting the beacon itself, just having that lit, is -6 points. So lighting it is actually giving you negative points, but it's the stuff you do around the beacon that gives you the positive points. Whereas the other ones are the opposite. They'll give you a whole bunch of points for lighting it, but then negative possibly for things that are not around it. So it's very cool.
Yeah, and you'll notice that one sort of has uses these little outlines, and you can also see them there on the screen. That's what we call the range of the beacon, and some of the scoring conditions list things that are within a certain range of the lit beacon, like the one that was just shown, which is looking for number of unique clusters in range.
Sure. That's cool, and just like the other map packs, it's kind of implied here by the images, but they're double-sided, so you have two cool different options for the first two map packs.
Yes. You have a sort of a more straightforward one with basic ranges, and then you have a more advanced one that has trickier ranges and also a little bit of those wastelands, those pre-filled spaces. Yes,
very cool. The next one is quite a departure from our other map packs. Not only when this one sells individually in the future, it's going to be a little more expensive because there's more stuff in it. There's more cards. We're providing 150 sheets instead of the normal 100. It makes it more expensive, obviously. So it's not a lot more expensive, but it is, people that might later on say, well, why is this other map pack more expensive than the others? That's the reason why. It has more stuff in it. So this one's called Hornhelm.
I love this cover art too.
It's great. Isn't that cover awesome?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really happy with all three of these.
Yes. They're all very cool. So this one's why don't you go ahead and kick this off and talk about how this one's just so much different from the others.
So this was one that Jordy took the lead on and really, I think, knocked it out of the park. So before we even get into some of the really cool special stuff about what happens in this map, I actually first want to just admire the actual map itself. This map, if this map, without any of the special abilities, just like this wasteland pattern and these mountains was printed on its own, this is like one of the best cartographers maps ever. It's so good. Like if you played a lot of cartographers, the nuances of sort of dividing the board into these four like sort of quadrants with the wastelands makes this map super tricky and very different than anything that's been published for cartographers so far. So that alone, like if you just played the base game on this map, it's a really good map. And then it's got pretty big humdinger of a twist. So all the maps we've shown you so far are one side looks like this, and the other side is sort of a variant of that map, right? Hornhelm breaks that pattern. One side is this map, which we were just like, this is the map. We love this map. We don't want a backside of this map. We just want to play this.
Right.
The other is this item sheet, which is a brand new type of sheet. And you're actually they're double-sided, but you're actually gonna take one of each and put them in front of you. So it gives you a whole second sheet that you're gonna be using during play. Periodically, you'll notice this has 3 rows, 3 columns of items. you are going to draw a merchant card like this one, Greppet. He's a frogkin. My favorite thing about frogkin is that all their names sound like a noise a frog would make. And this would say that you could buy any item on the bottom row here, right? So there's rows and columns. You buy them by spending gold, so it gives you a new way to spend your coins. And once you bought it, it turns on a new power for you. So you get passive abilities that are going to activate through the game. Some of the passive abilities are going to give you interactions on your map, and some of them the majority of them are going to give you filled in bubbles on this journal track. And as you move up the journal track, you're going to get fixed points for the end of the game. So they're little mini scoring objectives that you get to pick how you want to turn them on and in what order, and which ones are going to be available is going to be different every game, what order you're going to pick, whether you're going to buy them or not, because you have to spend coins. It's not always worth buying all three. Sometimes you only want to buy two. This is a really, really rich system. There's a lot of space to explore in terms of how to combo these items and strategies to pursue with them, especially when you're talking about combining this with something like a skills mini expansion or skills mini expansion 2 that gives you even another way to add coins. So I'm super excited to see what people make of this. This was one of our most popular map packs in testing. All three of these we did around a remote group of about 200-ish people, 180 or so. And we had a really, really good response from our remote testing group. If you are watching this and you were part of the playtesting process for any of these map packs, thank you so much. These were all designed and developed during the pandemic, and we really relied very heavily on the community of cartographers fans to play these map packs. A lot of people are printing them at home because they're not super big, and giving us feedback as we were going through iterations, and we really appreciate that, and it's made them so much better.
Yeah, definitely. That's well said. Wanted to ask you about this journal track on here. It goes up to a whopping 55 points if you fill in all of those journal ticks. What are the chances? What do you see? Like, what's the percentage of people that make it all the way down to that 55? It must be super rare.
You have to really be tailoring your strategy. So there comes a point at which, when you're fulfilling these conditions, like maybe it's, the ink bottle. When you draw a shape with at least 5 spaces, gain a journal track point. Well, when you're drawing one of those bigger shapes that's 5 or more spaces, you're probably not taking the smaller shape that has a coin. And maybe you're also not puzzling as well for some of your objectives. So when you start getting up really high on this journal track, you're probably giving up points somewhere else. But if you can tweak it just right so that you're getting the items in just the right order, and you're fulfilling your objectives, and you're getting the items on the journal track, I personally find the sweet spot is somewhere around that 4th rung in there.
Sure.
For me personally, I usually find if I try to max it out, I probably missed something, but maybe
I end up failing on some other things. Yep. For sure. Yeah. I mean, getting to that 4th rung, I mean, that's 30 more points to your score. So that's pretty big deal.
Keep in mind, when you buy these items, you are giving up coins. So if you buy a 2-coin item, in this between spring and summer, then you've given up 6 points of coins, right? The summer, the fall, and winter coins. So you also have to think about the trade-offs of when are you spending the coins, or do you want the 2-coin items or the 1-coin items, right?
Right. Wow, that's cool. Yeah, so this is great. So this is a real heavy Geordie design here then, right?
Yeah, and we tried a lot of different items during the design process. We also tried a version of this in which all the items were individual cards, and it was a variable set. And it turned out that it was easier to keep track of which items you had when they were in sort of a static grid in front of you. When they were cards, they went in the middle, but each of these has a pretty reasonable amount of ability text. So if these are not in front of you, we were seeing people would miss them too often. They weren't engaging enough with the core fun of the map.
I see.
Putting them on the sheet reduced the number of options in terms of the size of the map pack, but made each item much more impactful in terms of how they came into actual play.
Sure, that makes sense. And the other interesting thing I found is that you, from what I remember from reading this, you not draw one of these out at the start of the game, but is it just the final 3 seasons? Is that right?
You draw one between spring and summer, summer and fall and winter.
Gotcha. Okay. Then by that time you might have some coin to spend on it and everything. Right. That makes sense. All right. Well, very cool. So that's Hornhelm, another one that's going to be bundled, available tomorrow for pre-order. And the final thing, we just a little bit of icing on the cake, and everybody was excited to have some more heroes to choose from. Select randomly when you put them into the decks, just kind of like our monsters have become a cool thing to have lots of different ones. You never know what's going to show up on any given map. Here's 4 new ones. Are you starting to run out of different attack patterns, John, or are there still a lot of them that you have left?
I mean, I can't say exactly what we're working on for cartographers right now, but I can say you may have seen monsters with abilities, and maybe also there may be heroes with abilities.
Who knows, right?
Some of the things that I really liked about this set of heroes is we have 2 heroes here that tie back to some broader role player adventures. So the Immortal Knight, first featured on the cover of Role Player, is sort of the star hero of the Role Player universe. And Cartographers is sort of a prequel to the main events of Role Player and Role Player Adventures. And you'll learn a lot more about the Immortal Knight if you play Role Player Adventures. And you will also learn a little bit more about the Immortal Knight as depicted on this card in a future product that we can't yet name. Mm-hmm. Hazan the Mighty is another hero from the Role Player Adventures expansion, Nefrasa's Judgment. And I'll talk about this one a little bit just because it's pretty deep.
Sure.
And Hazan the Mighty is a Chosen One. So if you have the Chosen One backstory, you'll learn about your character's relationship with sort of the ancestral Chosen One that was Hazan the Mighty. So we wanted to sort of echo that a little bit for people that have played Role Player Adventures. That might be a character you saw in your playthrough.
Yes. And the other 2 are to be announced in future expansions. What Keith told me, I was actually looking it up. We kind of have an internal resource that we use, and so I was doing some research myself for some marketing write up. And I'm like, oh wait, Plex isn't in there, and I hadn't heard of Plex and UV. Haven't heard of UV before. And he goes, "Oh yeah, that
was my character," because I really like the idea of the shaky, the tree folk heroes, and I was wondering, what is the kind of title that you would give a tree folk hero? And I like the idea of 2 heart, so it's UV 2 hearted or UV 2 hearts.
Yes,
and like the heart of a tree, and also someone with like the strength of 2 hearts. I thought was interesting.
It is pretty cool. Yeah, here's the full card for people. We for a while we hide things behind so people can't see what the new attack patterns are, but that's what that one looks like.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
So I like tree folk. So I was just excited to get an extra little tree folk person in.
Oh, it's great. I mean the Ents are my favorite in Lord of the Rings. I love those guys when they come out. So it's tree people are amazing.
Yeah. And we haven't explored the shaky as much in role player content yet. I know they're intended to be a little smaller than like an Ent. They're more maybe 8 to 10 feet tall, I think, is sort of the idea. Sort of in roughly the same scale as like a human, but bigger.
True, and they are humanoid, right? They walk on 2 legs, and yeah. Gotcha. Well, cool. Well, that kind of covers all of the new material that we have. I wanted to just kind of say that sort of our plan is going to be we have Origins coming up, so that's the next big convention that Thunderworks will be at, and we are going to for sure have Frozen Expanse on hand at that convention. But I just talked to Keith a few minutes ago because I wanted to find out what he was thinking about the others. So here's the thing. The other expansions, they're in the United States, and they're on trucks and trains right now, and they're headed to Chicago, which means they're getting close to being in Madison to our warehouse, which means they may all show up at Origins. So if they do, people that go to Origins will have the option of also buying the bundle in person and getting all of that stuff right away without the shipping, which is really cool. You're not going to be able to buy them individually, though, except for Frozen Expanse. So if you just want one of them, Frozen Expanse will be for sale. But even if we have them all, you're not going to be able to pick up Hornhelm and just go home with that one, because we're kind of going to be releasing them throughout the summer individually, June, July, and August. By Gen Con, we should have everything for you there to pick up. So just want to throw that out there. Very cool.
Yeah, and that also ties into the retail store. If you're buying through your local your friendly local game store, it'll be June for Frozen Expanse, July for Kethra Steppe, and August for Hornhelm as well.
Yes, exactly. And I will say this, like the Origins and our shipping date for the bundle are super close together. So like, don't feel too bad if you can't get to Origins, because if you pre-order through us, that's going to be our next priority. As soon as we get home from Origins, it's like packing the stuff up for pre-orders and sending them out to you. So you won't have to wait that long. And I think that's about it. Is there anything that we didn't talk about, John, that you'd want to throw in here at all, or do we pretty much cover it?
No, I think we covered sort of the key points. I'm really excited to get to share these map packs with people. I have not been able to see people playing these map packs, the ones that are already on the market, as much because of the pandemic, and so it makes me really happy to see people on social media enjoying cartographers. So please take pictures, put them up. Even if we don't respond every time, we see them when they're on Twitter, when they're on Instagram, and it really brings a lot of joy into my life to see people enjoying something that we've all worked so hard on. So
yes. Here's Kirk Dennison, a Thunderworks full-time Thunderworks game employee and shipping master, is asking, is the Champions pack available to purchase by itself? I think he's asking a question he knows the answer to. I am currently struggling. I know it's going to be. Unfortunately, I don't. Do I have it? Oh, yes. June 20th, you're going to be able to order it on our website along with Map Pack 4. So eventually you will be able to buy the Champions by itself, but not until we sort of get out those bundles. Once we get the bundles out that have been pre-ordered, then we're going to be like, hey, everybody, Map Pack 4 is available for you if you want that. Also, the Champions mini expansion is available for you. It's funny, I had to think about it.
Of course, you're all going to get it with your bundle anyway, because of course, everyone watching this is getting the bundle. That's what I hear. Of
course. Yes, that's right. Well, Kirk just says not at the start, so I think I got the answer right. But I'm about to talk to him after this, and I'll put it in the chat if I got it wrong. So. Okay, cool. Well, John, thank you for your time today. Thanks for all the amazing work you continue to do. I know you have some, Keith, when we get a chance to talk, tells me about all the little secrets that are going on behind the scenes, and I'm super excited to.
Thunderworks has been very busy. I'm working on a couple different games with you, and there's still even so many more that I'm not working on.
Yeah, right.
I don't know, how Keith and Kirk are juggling all these logistics, but I am very impressed.
They just tell me when I can start talking about things. So that's I just have to wait and be patient. So okay, do we have anything else? We have Robert. Hey, Robert, I'm so excited for the new maps and Champions. What is your favorite pack of all? Ooh, we should answer that. What do you think?
Favorite pack of all? That's a really hard question.
It's so hard.
So I try, it's like they are different experiences. I think my favorite pack of the new set for when let's say someone has played the base game of Cartographers and they're like, oh, let's pick one of the map packs to play. My favorite one to pull out for sort of a first map pack from the first set, it was Nebulous. I thought the best first map pack to pull out. And from the new set, I think it's Kethra Steppe. Because the way that they change how you think about the game is different, but very straightforward and easy to understand why the change is there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Whereas when you talk about something like Afrol, this is the one that has individual islands.
That's one of my top ones there.
Yeah.
I was going to mention that one. Yeah.
Like this is a great map pack, but
Yes.
it's much bigger of a change, and the intricacies of working around the islands are a pretty significant step up in complexity. And that's the same thing I'd sort of say also about Hornhelm. Is like this is it's upside down. This is a great map pack, but it is a pretty large step up in complexity, and so it is probably a better map pack if you played Cartographers a couple times more than just once or twice, and then you're going to play a map pack.
Yeah, that's good feedback. Like I haven't personally sat down to really dig into the new ones. I've read them over a million times and know really how they work very well, but haven't had a chance to play them. Of the first three, I think Afrol has been my favorite. It's just so unique with the islands. It's really, really tricky because it's just so tight placing in your different shapes into some of those islands. And I like figuring out the chain that I want to unlock and how far do I want to continue unlocking them. I like all the decisions in that particular one a lot.
Yeah, and I think that's something that has really been really like buoying to hear for me as a designer on the first three map packs. Is I've talked to a lot of different people and seen a lot of different feedback about like which map packs are the best and which map packs are people's favorites. And I haven't seen a huge bias towards one. Like I've gotten pretty even responses in terms of people. There are people who Nebulous is their favorite, people who Afrol is their favorite, people Undercity is their favorite.
That's cool.
And I think that's going to be true of the new set as well.
Yeah.
So I know I dodged the question a little bit, Robert, who's my favorite. The answer is I really like them all, but for different sort of moods of who I'm playing with, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And just having something different, period,
right,
makes it so much cooler to play it again, over and over again. And now, I mean, gosh, think of how many times you could play it in a row and each time just being a completely different experience. There's just so many new maps, heroes, everything. So,
and that's something that I've really been impressed by from the Cartographers community. And when we put these out for playtesting and we see people play, most of the games in my collection, ones that I'm not working on, I played, a couple times, maybe 5 times if I really like it. Maybe I played it 12, 24 times. And we know that there are people out there that are playing hundreds of games of Cartographers.
yes.
And I've played hundreds of games of Cartographers.
Yeah.
But that's a little different. And so, I'm really excited because I know that those people are out there. Some of them play tested this map pack and really hammered it home. And I think whether you're just played the base game or just played Heroes and you've played a couple times, you're looking for something new, or if you've played quite a lot of Cartographers, you're going to find something to dig into in the new set of map packs.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, cool. I can't wait to dig into these. And I think I need to give these back to Keith though now, so I might have to just wait for them to come out, just like everyone else at this point. So.
I don't even have the real official printings. These are from my home printer.
Oh, okay, yeah, these are nice,
the real
man.
files,
Boy,
but...
you should see them. All right. Well, thanks a lot, and you have a great day. Everyone else, have a great rest of the week, and we hope to see you tomorrow morning, pre-ordering all of these cool new map packs and champions mini expansions. So, well,
cheers.
Talk to you later. Bye.